Did you know that beneath the ice of mysterious Antarctica lie over 400 lakes that never freeze and are heated from within the Earth? I'll show you the most astonishing discoveries and revelations of modern times, which raise even more questions, from the Third Reich base to the skulls of strange beings that baffle all modern scientists, and finally, the most intriguing discovery of all, a pyramid remarkably similar to those in Egypt, but nestled within the icy depths. Indeed, the American expedition, led by Admiral Richard Byrd, in 1946-47, reads like a spy thriller. This secretive group embarked on a year-long mission to Antarctica, but returned 5 months earlier than planned. To this day, nobody knows why, and their documents remain classified, hidden away in American archives seized from the Germans immediately after the fall of the Reich. But let's delve deeper. In 1945, the Argentinians captured 2 German submarines. One of them, U-530, commanded by Bernhard, confessed that they had been near Antarctica, executing a mission codenamed Valkyrie 2. They constructed an ice cave and loaded crates into it, but what those crates contained remains a mystery. The Third Reich's documents, Hitler's possessions, are all mere speculation. Even the interrogations were eventually classified. The intrigue deepens. In 1938-39, the Germans dispatched several scientific expeditions to Antarctica, dubbing the explored territory Neuschwabenland, a part of the Third Reich. Admiral Dönitz proudly announced the creation of an impregnable fortress on the other side of the world. Convoys for Hitler delivered secret cargo to Antarctica, while Soviet intelligence claimed there were 2 secret bases there. The high jump expedition was officially a research mission, yet aboard 2 icebreakers and 1 submarine. With a huge number of personnel, only 25 were scientists. Planned for a year, the crew returned home in February 1947. The reasons lie in what occurred there. Newspapers of the time buzzed, but the truth remained hidden. The US even admitted to losing a military plane there. Yet, why remains a mystery? Contrary to popular belief, Admiral Byrd's diary hinted at a strange encounter with a blonde, blue-eyed man who ordered him to terminate the expedition. Who was this man, and why did the Admiral mention him in his memoirs but refrain from detailing the expedition itself? Another enigma, and no resolution in sight. Now, let's discuss more obvious yet equally mysterious discoveries and puzzles of Antarctica. Imagine, in 2014, in Antarctica, 3 elongated skulls were discovered, strangely elongated, as if representing a different human species. These artifacts resemble skulls found in ancient Peru, Egypt, and elsewhere, where ancient civilizations manipulated their skull shapes with bandages. Peculiar and somewhat eerie fashion trend, wouldn't you say? And to find similar remains in Antarctica prompts even more questions. How could ancient civilizations live in such frigid temperatures? Or was the territory not always an icy desert? Perhaps our ancestors were far more advanced settlers than we give them credit for. Or maybe Antarctica harbors even more secrets than we can imagine. Moving on to McMurdo Station in Antarctica resembles a true polar city, a place where science, life, and possibly even some military interests intersect. With such extensive facilities, from greenhouses with fruits and vegetables to daycare centers, the station represents a unique blend of research hub and permanent human settlement. The fact that it was initially built as a naval aviation complex and used for Operation Deep Freeze adds more intrigue. What were the Americans freezing there? And does the operation continue? Speculation and conjecture abound, especially given the station's significant personnel count, reaching 100 individuals. This seems disproportionate for mere scientific observations. However, it could be related to the wide range of tasks performed there, including life support and ensuring safety in extreme conditions. It's worth mentioning that the station was deliberately located near the Ross Ice Shelf, which interested the Nazis. Rumor has it that it emits mysterious sounds, and during World War II, The Germans dug enormous tunnels into it for secret military experiments. Exciting to think about, but it's crucial to remember that without concrete evidence, these remain mere theories. Yet, the truth remains elusive. Some scientists argue that Antarctica was once adorned with green forests, teeming with life. Now, beneath the massive ice sheets, lie vast expanses of charred woodlands. Yes, it might sound unbelievable, but scientific evidence, including fossil findings, corroborates this. Research hints at a colossal fire in the Antarctic forests before the onset of the Ice Age and pole shift. What could have ignited such infernos? A meteorite impact, volcanic eruptions, or perhaps something even more fantastical? Scientists rack their brains trying to decipher this ancient mystery, with each fossil fragment, each discovered piece of charcoal, bringing us closer to answers. And since we've broached the topic of meteorites, let's move on to the next discovery. Imagine this. 90% of all meteorites found worldwide are unearthed in Antarctica. Astonishing, isn't it? And hunting for them is relatively easier amidst the snow, as they stand out like charcoal against the white backdrop. The ice here serves as a reliable guardian, delicately preserving these cosmic messengers from corrosion. Thanks to this, over the last 50 years, more than 10,000 meteorites have been unearthed. Some are even older than 700,000 years. But here's the kicker. One potato-sized meteorite that plummeted to Earth in 2022 was discovered in 2015 to have originated from Mars. Scientists found fossilized remnants of Martian microbes in it, living beings from another planet. While it may sound too grandiose, at least we've made contact with extraterrestrial microorganisms. Since the 1980s, scientists have been uncovering dinosaur remains in Antarctica, not just any bones, but complete fossils dating back over 71 million years. On this frozen continent once roamed prehistoric birds and marine giants like the plesiosaur and mosasaur. But what's truly intriguing is how these behemoths ended up there. According to some scientists' hypotheses, during those times, Antarctica wasn't in its current location. It was situated elsewhere, specifically in the southwest part of the Pacific Ocean, with a vastly different climate, much warmer. Just as I mentioned earlier, you live, you rejoice, and then bam, fossil under a kilometer of ice. And I want to remind those who haven't subscribed yet, Antarctica is not just icy landscapes. Scientists have identified around 400 lakes beneath the glaciers, and the majority of them don't freeze. Yes, in the coldest place on Earth, water remains liquid. How is that possible? It's all about the pressure beneath the enormous ice layer, so great that water stays liquid even when the temperature drops below freezing. And the Earth's core also warms the water, preventing it from turning into ice. But that's not all. Some of these Antarctic lakes are active. This means that microorganisms inhabit them despite the harsh conditions. In 2013, American researchers drilled into the Ross Ice Shelf to a depth of 701 meters and discovered an underground lake. Water samples were extracted, and behold a miracle. In these waters, where light hadn't penetrated for millennia, frost-resistant bacteria, previously unknown to science, thrived. In 2009, archaeologists stumbled upon the remains of a creature that raises even more questions than ordinary dinosaurs. Imagine an animal the size of cattle, but instead of being cute and fluffy, it lays eggs. Yes, it's no joke. This creature lived over 250 million years ago, and, according to scientists, is the distant ancestor of mammals. What's interesting is that similar creatures were found in South Africa, meaning that millions of years ago, this animal migrated over some cosmic distance to Antarctica. Yes, it sounds incredible, but at that time, such a journey was entirely possible, considering that Antarctica was part of the supercontinent Pangaea, and moving from one part to another was commonplace. Another thing is that it was a journey spanning tens of thousands of kilometers. Sometimes, it's not just scientists making enigmatic discoveries. With the advent of the internet and satellite maps, anyone can feel like a true explorer of untouched human territories. Imagine someone exploring various corners of the Earth through satellite images and stumbling upon a fascinating sight. An image showed an unidentified object on a snow-covered road and a long trail it left behind. This sparked numerous theories, from UFO conspiracies to more grounded explanations like optical distortions or traces of an unknown machine. It's clear that nobody rushed to study this territory immediately, but the image caused quite a stir. Taylor Glacier, a true marvel of nature, left everyone in awe. At first glance, it appears as though it's bleeding, with red liquid flowing into the sea, like a scene from a fantastical movie. But let's dispel this mystical veil. No, it's not blood. This incredible phenomenon is due to the high presence of iron oxide in the water. The waterfall originates from a lake just a couple of kilometers away, hidden beneath the ice. The saltiness and iron oxide in the lake's water give it this remarkable red hue. So, when you look at Taylor Glacier, you're actually witnessing a unique combination of geological and chemical processes. But let's keep going. Further on, the dry valleys of Antarctica are such an extraordinary and mysterious place that it's hard to believe they exist. Picture this, right in the heart of a continent known for its glaciers and snow, like the driest place on Earth. Yes, that's right. These barren lands, discovered in 1903, astound with their uniqueness. In these dry valleys, humidity is so low that ice and snow are practically non-existent. And here's the most remarkable part. It hasn't rained in this area for over 2 million years. The reason? Incredibly strong winds, sometimes reaching 322 kilometers per hour, cause snow and ice to simply sublimate. And you know what else is interesting? The conditions in these dry valleys most closely resemble those on Mars. That's precisely why NASA chose this location to test its Viking spacecraft, designed to explore the red planet. But sometimes, Antarctica yields unexpected surprises. Imagine this, deep within Antarctic ice hides treasures, not only of natural but also cultural origin. Take, for example, the story of 2 cases of Scottish whiskey that spent over 100 years in icy captivity. Like something out of a fairy tale, right? Indeed, when archaeologists unearthed this precious find, they proceeded with extreme caution. No hasty actions, as the risk of damaging such rare whiskey was too great. Therefore, scientists waited until all the necessary tools for the careful extraction of the cases from their icy prison were brought to Antarctica. And it took several years. Finally, when all the resources and tools were in place, scientists embarked on the delicate task. After a thorough and cautious extraction, the cases were thawed from their icy confinement. What happened next with this fiery liquid? The story remains untold. Another puzzle from the depths of Antarctica. Imagine, at a depth of 335 meters, American archaeologists stumbled upon something truly remarkable and unlike anything they'd ever seen before. The creature they discovered was about 20 centimeters long, adorned with protruding bones. But the most unusual thing, its jaw, which protruded forward. Now, researchers face the daunting task of determining the origin of this creature, figuring out what it fed on, and attempting to classify it. This could be the key to understanding many mysteries of Antarctica, and may open up new horizons in the study of life in extreme conditions. The Imperial Trans-Antarctic expedition was truly ambitious, but as often happens in the history of exploration, unforeseen difficulties arose. The expedition, consisting of 2 teams on the ships Endurance and Aurora, became the epitome of the last great voyage of the golden age of polar exploration. At that time, technologies from the 19th century were still in use, and the teams were completely cut off from the outside world, relying solely on their own resources and skills. Despite meticulous planning, Nature had its say. Endurance became trapped in pack ice, and ultimately suffered a crushing defeat. And Aurora was torn from its anchorage, enduring a prolonged drift, before returning to New Zealand. But the most amazing and instructive part of this story is how Shackleton's team managed to survive without any losses, relying solely on themselves. The ship Endurance remains in the Antarctic ice forever. What do you say about the pyramids in Antarctica? On the internet, it's presented as a sensation and shock. However, it turns out that these so-called pyramids are actually natural mountain formations, part of the Vinson Massif. These rocks have been subjected to extremely strong winds in Antarctica, reaching up to 300 kilometers per hour. It's these winds that shape the mountains in such a way that they take on a pyramidal form, creating the illusion of artificially created pyramids. But that's just the official version. It seems to me that if scientists made any shocking discoveries, they'd hardly disclose them to the public. Because where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, that's all for now. I invite you to subscribe to my channel, give a thumbs up, and until next time, friends.